All right. What's going on, Buff Nation? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let me open up the window here. Give you guys a little weather report right now. It is sleeting today. Like I said, April. You just never know what kind of season you're gonna get. It's kind of like the transfer portal. You're just gonna wake up and see what happens, right? Wow, Alton McCaskill. That was one guy that I was not expecting to enter the portal. I'll break that down. Best of luck to him. No sour grapes from me. I mean, this is just the stage that we're at with the transfer portal. There's going to be some guys that don't feel completely comfortable with their standing, and they can go somewhere else, possibly. I think a lot of these guys have an idea of already where they're going to go or where the opportunity that they're more so looking for is, and that's okay. Best of luck to him. Hope he does really well. Man, like K, Vizzy, and Zion are saying, we got some interesting visits coming in. So how are you guys feeling today? A little bit crazier of transfer portal movement for Colorado than I was expecting, but hey, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? I'm sure loving all this stuff. So y'all be sure to smash that like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you like that we've offered, that we have visiting? This is going to be interesting stuff. So let me go ahead and just cut the music a little bit, and we'll just go ahead and get started, all right? So, hey, first off, let's get to it. Alton McCaskill jumping in the portal. Totally did not expect this. This is a bummer. I was pissed about it because, man, he's somebody that we've been hyping up for, a year and a half now. A year and a half now that we wanted to see. Obviously still rehabbing from that injury. Taking a little bit longer to get back than I expected. I know that there's been some things floated out about favoritism with him not playing last year. I just want to call BS with that. I think that he's a really talented back. He's a good kid. I think, you checked out his tweets that he posted yesterday. I don't see the argument for favoritism of why he didn't play last year. I think he's an incredible talent, but there must have been a reason. Again, coming back from that ACL injury on why they didn't trust throwing him out there possibly a little earlier than he wanted to, or maybe people in his family. But I just don't really buy that. But if we can get somebody in here that has a lot of talent, that has played football, the last couple seasons, I think that's a win for the running back room. But best of luck to Alto. I'm going to be rooting for him wherever he goes. Just Bodie, I don't totally buy that it's favoritism that the coaching staff is messing up these kids. I don't buy that with Alton. But again, this is just the nature of the business. I imagine that he probably didn't like the fact that he was splitting carries maybe a little bit more than he anticipated possibly in spring ball, because we've seen Michael Welsh get some carries with the first team. We've seen Dylan Edwards get some carries with the first team. I'm pretty confident we'll bring in running backs. We'll bring in other running backs and complementary running backs that I think the room is going to be feeling good, I think, but by the time fall camp opens up. But to me, I think just in general, it is crazy how some of these players make decisions based off of like 10, 13 practices, and they're jumping in the portal. It is crazy. But Bodie, hey, do not lose heart, Bodie. Everything's going to be okay, man. Everything's going to be okay. This is just the silly season of the transfer portal period. Y'all forget this. It always gets worse in the portal periods before we see what we bring in, before it gets better. So we've been through this long enough to where we understand how this thing goes. We're going to see who's out at first, and then we're going to see who we bring in, and then we'll be able to make a real determination on where our team is after that. And, losing Cormani McClain, huge surprise. maybe less of a surprise to some of y'all in the fake insiders. Again, I'm going to give y'all credit where credit's due, but think about it from a team building perspective. Like if we want to look at it from like a salary cap positional spending perspective, let's do that. Colorado, we do have some collective money to spend. We're not Alabama, we're not Texas, but we're also not just dirt broke, right? We're not dirt poor. We got some money to spend. I think we can all assume safely that Cormani McClain was one of the higher paid, players on the team coming out here. And so what do we do with that money? Pun intended. What do we do with that money? I think that you're starting to see like, hey, we might allocate some of that, positional spending towards more of the trenches in the front seven. I think that last year was an interesting experiment, building from the outside in. That's what we had talked about last spring. That's what the approach was we're going to be spending or be building from the outside in. We saw how that worked last year. And I think that there's a little bit more of a focus on kind of returning to, building from the inside out. Of course, this is done a little bit more on the fly as it is in the transfer portal era. But let's get into some of the visits that we have coming up and some of the offers. And some of the guys that you have highlighted to me, we're bringing in for visits. We've offered. This is, like Buffs News Weekly saying, I love this. It's time to go shopping, right? And I do like the idea of maybe allocating a little bit more of the budget towards those trenches, towards the linebackers, the defensive line, the edge rushers. Guys, the more I start thinking about this, the more I still want to bring in edge rushers, guys. I want to cause absolute chaos on this defensive line, okay? Especially on passing downs. I don't want them to feel like, hey, if we just double this one particular player, we're going to be okay. No. I want the gates of hell opened up on that quarterback, on that offensive line, on passing down. So let's bring in some interior defensive linemen, which I think we're going to do. Let's bring in some more edge players. Let's bring in a linebacker or two and really shore up this defense. So let's get into the fun stuff, okay? Who do we got? Who do we got coming in? Let's go ahead and check this out. So the first guy that we are bringing in for a visit, I believe we've offered him as well. Yes, Zion, we got to bring in the wrath of Satan from this team, man. Absolutely. All right, Tennessee linebacker Elijah Herring. Looks like we're in the running for him. Isn't this great? Led the team last year in tackles for Tennessee. Again, PFF stats are a little bit different than what you'll see on ESPN. Usually there's a little bit of like, a stat might be different by like 2 or 3. But hey, 75 tackles on the season, total tackles. No sacks, but hey, this guy's going to be there to primarily help stop the run. Again, not the best PFF grades, but hey, when you're a leading tackler on an SEC team, I'm not going to overlook that, okay? I think that he could be an upgrade and would be an upgrade over Levante Bentley. Now, I have to admit, I haven't watched anything of him yet, but I do know that he's a guy that has gotten a handful of offers, I believe, already from some big-time Power 4 schools. And I'm not going to complain bringing in a starting SEC linebacker from anywhere, including, Tennessee, which is a good program. Very good program. Shout out to Talkin' Vols. I wonder how they're doing this spring period, right? So I love the fact that he's coming in for a visit. Great stuff. Multiple years of eligibility as well, guys. That's very important when we're bringing in transfers. I like it. And again, you can see where he's lined up. Box linebacker. He's going to play that Bentley position, okay? So, yeah, the coverage grades aren't great, but his main responsibility is going to be supporting in that run game, just as Bentley's responsibility is going to be. Now, another guy that we've also brought in for a visit, a guy, I forget who on the channel brought this guy to my attention. Nikhai Hill Green, originally from Michigan, transferred out to Charlotte last year, absolutely crushed it. Again, another bigger linebacker, 6'2", 232. Elijah Herring, 6'3", 238. Man, wouldn't it be great if we could bring them both in? Did very well in coverage, serviceable in run defense, but I mean, look at the tackling, okay? 67 solo tackles with another 16 assisted. That's what, 83, if I can do my math correctly. Total tackles on the year, a couple sacks as well. I think he would be another guy that we can bring in to add support to this linebacker core. And played at Michigan a little bit. And again, think the grades, serviceable stuff. I like it. Okay, now another guy that we're bringing in for a visit or we've made contact with, I forget, Edge, Dayon Hayes. Y'all remember Frank Narduzzi being all Frank Narduzzi, criticizing Coach Prime last year, for the transfer portal and, just being a total hypocrite, all that. Let's continue to go after Pitt guys just to stick it to them, man. That's how I feel about it, right? Dayon Hayes, teammate of Samuel Okunloa, 6'3", 265 edge. Hey, 4 sacks on the year last year. That's wonderful. About, 38 tackles on the season, okay? 44 total quarterback pressures. That's great stuff. And I think that he would come in and, again, add serviceable production and depth to this edge room, to this defensive line. Played the run also very strong, just like Samuel Okunloa. So these are guys that can rush the passer well as provide run support. So, yes, we're not just bringing in guys that can do one thing serviceable. These are guys that can come in and have a little bit more of a well-rounded game. So Dayon Hayes, I would love to see him brought in. Yes. This is a little bit old news, but Andrew Chamblee could come in and start at right tackle for us this year. So he's visiting as well. And I mean, I would love it. 6'6", 304, working with Phil Oldholt and company. I love to see the fact that he's visiting. I imagine that it's going to be down to the wire for his services. But again, when we lose some players, hey, again, I'm not sure how much these guys were making from the collective, but you got to think that, certain kind of higher names that we brought in the past, Alton McCaskill, right? Savion Washington was a starter for us last year. Man, who else? I already mentioned Cormani McLean. Who knows, what Shimon Mateer, but I think a lot of people expected him, including the program, to be that number 1 tight end. But, I mean, he was practicing with the second and third team, right? So if we're able to kind of reallocate that money towards the trenches, towards that front 7 on the defense, and bring in some more talented guys from that standpoint, I'm going to be a happy guy. I'm going to be very happy. Now, before I get to some of your comments, let's take a look at running backs, okay? Who might we bring in the backfield? Of course, it would be freaking amazing if we could bring in somebody like Damian Martinez. I don't think that's realistic, though. But there's been a lot of discussion I've seen around Dallan Hayden, Ohio State running back. I think it would be great if we could bring him in. I think we've offered him because I think he said he's spoken to Coach Prime himself. So really nice size running back, 5'10", 205. That's kind of more so the ideal size for these running backs. Average 5 yards a carry in limited playing time this past year for Ohio State. Multiple years of eligibility left. That's great. And we've seen, again, over 5 yards a carry. That's nice. 6 touchdowns, no fumbles. So, hey, really love that. And let's see. I didn't look at his receiving. Okay, it doesn't really give you much in the receiving game, but that's kind of hard to tell from just limited snaps, And let's take a look at the blocking as well, because that's important for running backs. He's got the nice size to do it and serviceable, well, run blocking, but pass blocking, man, what the heck was happening here? So maybe that's something that he's got to work on. Who knows? But hey, hasn't given up any sacks. Seemed to do better. Okay. His first year getting more playing time at Ohio State. So, yeah, I think that would be great. Let's see what else we got here from the running back room. I think you guys brought up to me a Louisville running back. You know, Andrew Paul is somebody that we've spoken about. Wouldn't that be funny if we bring in another Houston running back? I'm not too familiar with Brandon Campbell, but I thought there was a Louisville running back that we have kind of heard a lot about. Penny Boone. You look at him. Oh, I guess more so originally played at Toledo. And maybe was just with Louisville for this semester. Again, that's just how it is. You know, this is Colorado's not the only place where they have this kind of thing happen. It is what it is. Again, that's just a pet peeve of mine. How can you really determine how you're doing after 10 practices? But, you know, it is what it is. This is his blocking stats. Okay. Nice to see that the dude can block a little bit. Let me bring up his rushing stats, though. That's what we really want to look at, right? Okay, average 7.4 yards a carry. Goodness, 6'1", 242. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm sorry. I like bigger football players. I don't like sticking small guys on the field and expecting to go beat, you know, some giants on the field. We saw how that happened with TCU and Georgia a couple years ago, right? Georgia was just a different size collectively. But yeah, I mean, goodness, 1,300 yards at Toledo? Good Lord. After that kind of production, why are you not just going to the NFL? I mean, I know that running backs just aren't drafted, so maybe he's able to make a little bit more money than he would possibly being undrafted. Who knows? But interesting stuff. I mean, 40 runs over 10 yards. Okay. Running a little bit zone and gap. Interesting. Well, I'm going to need to look into him, but not going to disregard that size. And have we offered him? Y'all let me know in the comments. If so, then we can put to rest the sometimes the talking points that I hear from just the people on the internet makes no sense. Coach Prime only likes teeny tiny. Man, shut up, man. Shut up. I think we just don't like injury prone players, man. That's it. Giggity, we're going to run the ball. We still might not run the ball to your liking in terms of the amount, but we're going to run the ball and be more effective about it at it this year. I think so. So I'll get to some of your comments. We'll see what you guys think. But again, guys, you know, don't forget, you got to see who leaves first and then make your judgment on the team after we see who we bring in. Let's reallocate some of this NIL collective money towards the trenches. We tried to build from the outside in last time. You know, we can't do that this year. Exactly. It's a pipe dream. And hey, if we're going to spend big money on a player, have it be somebody on the defensive line, the interior. Please. Please. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Maybe Charlie gets some touches, maybe, but I would prefer to keep him still as a walk-on, save that extra roster spot so we can just go get some more defensive lineman edge guys. Anthony Dunn Jr. is still a guy that I would love to bring in from a rotational edge standpoint. Played the run very strong at FAMU this past year and was just a menace at FAMU. bring him in. He can be one of the key rotational guys for us in the pass rush. Again, if you got 4 or 5 really good pass rushers, I'm not going to complain about that. You also deal with injury at that position quite a bit. We need depth. I swear, TV, what's up, man? Hope you're doing all right. Let's see what else we got here. Russ, you're thinking that Trevor Woods definitely goes back to safety. He's a Swiss Army knife. I guess depending on who we bring in at the linebacker position, can we bring somebody in that can provide a little bit more coverage at that position? Of course, I'm still very high on Jalen Wester. I think he's a very talented player, so maybe he can win that starting job at the inside linebacker position. We'll just have to see. Dex, I'm glad you brought this up. Let's be for real, Dave. Ain't no one starting over Benson. Bro got the DT2 merch and all that. He's not sitting on the bench. I will say it is a bit frustrating just from like an optic standpoint to see him drop that merch without having that starting spot like solidified to the public, I guess. But maybe it really is. Maybe it really is. But I would like to see him rather kicked into guard. I think that he could start for us at guard. But man, I mean, you gotta, to his credit, man, you gotta have big balls to drop that merch even before you see how you're playing in the season. Right? You gotta have big balls to do that. So we'll just have to see how that works out. Again, yeah. You got to back it up with the play now. Lawrence, good to see you, man. Penny Boone is legit. Yeah, that's like Damian Martinez size because I think he's around that 240 as well, or like 230, something like that. Really big running back. Wouldn't mind having a bulldozer, man, that can do a little bit of everything. I don't really know about the Trevante Citizen guy from the Miami Hurricanes. Maybe you guys can educate me on him. But anytime a Miami player enters, we'll go like that. I'll always be somewhat interested. Let's see. What else we got here? Go Bucks. Colorado has lost no production so far. It's kind of funny, man, because I think technically, yes. I think that there were some guys that have entered the portal that I was expecting to play productive roles for us. But hey, when you look at that, again, Shimon Mateer was here for 10 practices. Again, it's not just Mateer. This is a trend in college football that is just really hard for me to fully understand of how the hell are you making a determination on your spot after 10 practices, but it is what it is. He wasn't here last year. And maybe I just need to give up hope for us really bringing in a big time threat at the tight end position. Like, maybe I just need to change my expectation. Let's just bring in some guys that can really block, just be badasses, and maybe we can coach them how to catch a little bit, right? But I'm sick of bringing in these tight ends in the portal that I get all excited about, and then you just hear that they're not physical, they're soft, and that they can't block. What the hell? What the hell? I just want to bring in some tight ends that are no nonsense, that aren't super active on social media, that are just there to do their job, hit some people, lay some pancakes out there and inflict pain. Can we find some of those guys? That's why I'm back on the Connor Gilbreth train. We got a second shot at him. Come on. He's a tight end that's 6'6", 275. He got on the field for LSU last year as their inline blocking tight end, hit the transfer portal yesterday. Can we please just bring him in? This guy has the right attitude on the field. I want him in black and gold. We got a second chance with him. I'm glad you agree, Dex. He better back it up. Lynn, great question. Why is Feely taking up room, had to hit the portal? I hate the fact that we got 2 kickers on scholarship right now. That needs to change. I think Feely should hit the portal because I don't see him, unless he fixed his consistency issues, which he very well could have. I see Mata as our place kicker. I think we got Gerlach to do those touchbacks. Big leg Gerlach. So, hey, my need is solved there. I was hoping it could be solved through a walk-on. I think Gerlach's going to be able to do that. Gerlach gang. What's up, Scobuffs Daily? Shout out to Scobuffs Daily. Y'all go follow him on Twitter now. Ooh, Lawrence. Interesting connection here. I think Boone may wind up at Baylor. His old quarterback is there. Interesting. I forgot that Baylor got that quarterback from, was it Toledo or Maryland? I don't know. But I know they brought in that transfer quarterback. Recruiting staff kind of sketchy right now. I don't like the fact that we've had this happen 2 years in a row with our tight ends. Like legit the same stuff. So what are we talking? How are we talking? Are we communicating with these guys before they even come out to play this position? Because it seems like they get pissed about their role, or like they get mad that they're not blocking good enough or up to standard. I don't even know, man. I don't know. Now, let's see if Coach Flea and Coach Hart, they're able to bring in some quality running backs and linebackers. Again, I think that there's plenty to criticize both of them on. The one argument that I'm just going to call bullshit with, that I think is stupid as hell, is just saying they just play favorites. No, I don't think that they play favorites, but I think that there is some worthy criticism that they haven't gotten some of these guys ready to our expectation or to our hopes. That could be on them. Not saying it could be on them. I think it's a split. I think it's partially on them, and it's partially on some of these dudes that we've brought in. But I'm not going to call them trash. Again, I know that we're in this world of you're either elite or you're trash, but 99% of the coaches and players they don't fall within those buckets in college football. Ooh, interesting, Dex. Savion Washington, crystal ball to Baylor. That will be fun going up against him, right? That will be a lot of fun. No, that's not playing favorites, Kobe. Literally playing favorites is like, I know you're better, but I'm not putting you on the field because I just like my guy better. That has nothing to do with coaching, like getting them prepared. That's removing the preparation part. And what I'm saying is we shouldn't remove the preparation part and just say they're just playing another guy because they like them better. I think they're just not coaching these guys up to the level and the standard that it should be. I disagree with this, Zion, but you're going to have your moment. You're going to have your moment. We're going to see how it all goes. And Dizza, you're right about this. Only bench warmers cry favoritism. It's so funny, man, how all these guys, and again, it's not just Colorado, guys that hit the portal, they want to bitch about the coaches. All these guys that never went to the league, they always have some coach to blame. They have everybody to blame but themselves for just not being that guy. I just think it's hilarious. Trust me, Big Worm, Omari Miller staying here. But yeah, I just think it's so funny, man, how all these players, man, and that's the risk. I think we're kind of seeing this across college football, not just Colorado, with the transfer portal, is that the guys, there's a large percentage of guys. This isn't for every guy. There's a large percentage of guys that hit the portal because they say my role needs to be bigger. I deserve to be bigger. All this stuff, and then they go to this next school and they got to fight and claw and split time. And then it's like, well, what do you do after that? You're totally right. But guys, gonna wrap this up here very soon. Appreciate you guys as always. But yeah, like this is again silly season in the college football off season, man. I love this stuff. It's entertaining. It's great to keep up with. Things are fast moving. People are moving all over college football. And again, I think you're going to see the construction of this team continue to morph and change, I think, in a direction that will benefit this team, especially down the stretch when we're going up against our toughest opponents. We need more quality and depth on the offensive line, on the defensive line, at linebacker. I'm excited to see who we bring in. Guys, and I know this might piss off some of y'all, man. I think Dylan Edwards is a great talent, okay? I think Michael Welsh, very interesting. I'm a fan of Alton McCaskill. I want to see him return to that form in 2021. But let's not freak out about the running back position because it is a dime a dozen. It is more important that we get quality play from our offensive and defensive lines, in my opinion, before we focus on linebacker and running back. Let's shore up those areas first because linebacker and running back, the performances of the lines have a lot to do with their performances. If that makes sense. So, yeah, we'll see how this all goes. I think it's going to be interesting. Deception. Houston's got 26 in the portal. Nobody says anything. Portal is the new college football norm. It absolutely is. This is just it, guys. Eric, wonderful question. I'm not going to comment too much on it. I was pretty pissed when I first read his comment. But if you guys are wondering what he said, I'm sure you can find it on Twitter. Alton is better than that. You saw and I feel bad that he's got to put up with that from a parent. I'm glad he squashed it. And again, I think he's a really good kid and I wish him well. It's unfortunate sometimes, not just with this situation, but you see it with other athletes and other players on other teams, is that these parents got mad Karen AAU energy. They feel like their kid is the greatest thing to ever walk the earth and they can't look at their kids objectively. I thought that was a ridiculous tweet. I'm glad he deleted it. And because I was going to have some words if that had stayed up there. More words for that. But I'm glad he deleted it. All is forgiven. I wish him well. And I feel bad that Alton had to deal with that. But that's why you haven't seen me retweet it or anything like that or comment on it. It's just because I want, comment on it on Twitter and stuff like that. It's just because I don't want Alton dealing with that BS, man. That's probably already frustrating enough to deal with personally. I still think C Black, Dylan's going to get a lot of touches, no doubt. But this room, it is going to be a committee. I think it is going to be a committee. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to shut this thing down. I think I'm going to be back later this afternoon with Jason Watkins, a friend of his show that I've done a handful of streams with over the past year. Hey, and I guess I'll highlight it with this. Surfer, I agree, Dave. No stressing over a running back leaving CU. I mean, we're all acting like they're going to run the table or something. I'll just leave it off with that. Y'all take that for what it's worth. But appreciate you guys as always. Be on the lookout for a stream coming up later this afternoon or early evening. Appreciate you guys as always. Remember, enjoy this. Have fun. Don't take all these transfers so personally. It's just the business. Y'all have a good one. Go Buffs.